Welcome to our channel. Anupamaa decides to return home to handle Toshu's crisis. Tonight's episode of Anupamaa begins with Rahi, Adhya, blaming Anupamaa for Anuj's death. Anupamaa, visibly emotional, asks how she could possibly be responsible for such a tragedy. Tearfully, she explains to Rahi that Anuj's death was caused by a plane crash, an accident that was beyond anyone's control. Rahi then shifts the blame, accusing Anupamaa of denying her the chance to see her father one last time before he passed away. In response, Anupamaa reminds her that she, too, suffered a great loss with Anuj's death. Anupamaa expresses how Anuj and Rahi were the two most important people in her life. She tells Rahi that if it weren't for the small hope of one day reuniting with her, she might have died alongside Anuj. Pleading with her daughter, Anupamaa urges Rahi to come back home, emphasizing that Anuj always wished for their family to remain united. She emotionally appeals to Rahi, saying that even fate, represented by Lord Krishna, has brought them together again for this reason. Anupamaa adds that Ansh is with them as well and begs Rahi to allow her to clear up any misunderstandings between them. In a parallel scene, the children's belongings are seen being thrown out of the ashram. They lament that if Rahi had been present, Gangua wouldn't have been able to evict them. Confused about Rahi's whereabouts, they ask the elderly man, but he claims to have no knowledge of her location. Anupamaa continues her desperate plea, urging Rahi to accompany her, but Rahi remains resolute and walks away. Devastated, Anupamaa tearfully wonders how she will convince their daughter and quietly asks Anuj for guidance. Back at home, Dolly suggests that Toshu contact Anupamaa to update her on the troubling situation, believing Anupamaa might be able to handle it. Rahi gathers the family and shares the hopeful news that Anupamaa has found Adhya in Dwaraka and is bringing her back home. The family reacts with disbelief, though Dolly remains skeptical, doubting whether it's truly Adhya or someone else. Secretly, Dolly hopes that Anupamaa won't return with Adhya after all. Meanwhile, Rahi stands at the edge of a cliff by the sea. Prem pulls her back just in time and tells her he knows she wouldn't take such a drastic step, but her current state has deeply scared him. He advises Rahi to have a direct conversation with Anupamaa to find closure and stop behaving like a coward. Without responding, Rahi leaves. As she walks away, Prem spots her earring on the ground and is left wondering what could be troubling her so deeply. Back at the Shah household, some family members are displeased with Adhya's return. Ansh approaches Anupamaa and notices her tears. She tells him that although she met Rahi, her daughter refused to come home. Ansh reassures his grandmother, promising that he will help convince Rahi to change her mind. Elsewhere, Rahi and Peri are excited about Rahi's possible return, but Kinjal cautions them not to get their hopes up too soon. Later, Anupamaa and Ansh reach the ashram, only to find it abandoned. Just then, Anupamaa receives a phone call from Toshu. He informs her that a significant order was returned due to poor quality and that some people fell ill because of the products. Anupamaa questions him about the materials he used, but Toshu evades the question and abruptly ends the call. Anupamaa informs Ansh that they need to head back home, but her heart is heavy at the idea of leaving without Rahi. Torn by the situation, she silently questions how she can abandon Rahi and wonders what her next steps should be, seeking guidance from God. Meanwhile, Rahi learns from the head of the ashram that they face the loss of the ashram if they don't come up with 210 lakhs. Deeply concerned about the children's future and imagining them homeless, Rahi vows to do whatever it takes to save the ashram. Anupamaa, troubled by the situation, turns to Lord Krishna in prayer, seeking guidance on how to bring Rahi back into their lives. Simultaneously, Rahi also prays to Lord Krishna, asking for help to save the ashram. While walking, she bumps into someone, causing pamphlets to scatter around her. She notices that these pamphlets are related to Mom. This moment leads Rahi to approach Anupamaa and agree to return to Ahmedabad. Overjoyed, Anupamaa attempts to embrace her daughter, but Rahi stops her, setting a condition that Anupamaa must save the ashram. If she fails, Rahi insists that Anupamaa should never show her face again.